Okay, so let's move on to another story. This one is, you know, I mean, it's really Ant Man is going to be coming out um, on Friday, and so we're going to go see this. I'm going to go see this on Thursday as he is, and basically, this is going to be the third installment of the Ant Man franchise, and Kevin Feige has basically called this the end of a trilogy and everything else. Um, so I know we were just talking about this off camera. So you sat down and watched Ant Man, both Ant Man and Ant Man and the Wasp. What did you think at going back to rewatch them? What did you think about those?
Well, I think I really do love the first Ant-Man. It's a film that is really just charming about a father trying to connect with his daughter, which actually isn't something that you see that often in comic book films. So that's something that really brings a uniqueness to it, but it's also a story about another father trying to connect with his daughter. And then there's also the element of the first film of the shrinking, and that's something that is real. I think what makes comic book movies really good is whenever they add something that we haven't seen before. And when the first Ant-Man came out, we had never seen a character like that before. So I loved all that. Um, though I will say, I even though I love the first Ant-Man, I didn't love it as much as I used to. I used to have this movie in my top 5 MCU. It might be still in my top 10, but it's still good though. And you know what's funny? Because Ant-Man and the Wasp, when I rewatched it, it was one of my least favorites. And I actually was watching it today, and I had just a bowl of fun watching it. It was funny, and I think that the movie actually, if you look at the way it's structured quite differently from other MCU fare. It's not, first of all, it's not ending with this massive CGI battle between two opposing characters flinging things at each other or, fighting each other really. It's really a story about people trying to get their family back or trying to get a piece of themselves back. And there's also the element in Ant Man and the Wasp of the character of the Wasp. And even though in Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think I would have liked to see her have more action sequences, I am very excited to see maybe her get a couple more in Quantumania. But I think honestly, David, if we get to Quantumania and Quantumania is good, I think Ant-Man could be a pretty good trilogy, especially the way it would be structured from like number 1, 2, and 3. But that's just me. I know some people aren't that big in terms of like fans of the Ant-Man franchise. It's certainly not like Guardians or honestly, I think Ant-Man is like the least loved franchise of the entire MCU, but I still like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Ant Man is this has been it's a good franchise. It's a
Mhm.
good franchise for what it is, and I think that so right now as it stands, um, it is tracking and it's actually not gonna it's gonna do pretty well. Right now it's tracking at about $120 million for opening weekend, and it's looking like it might hit $280 million globally, which is huge for Ant Man. Um, they're hoping to make between 95 to anywhere between 95 to 110 million over the next 3 days. Um, And, I think we've talked about this before is that there's a couple things that are going for this, right? Number one, we have the main villain in this film in Kang, which I mean, Jonathan Majors is crushing it and is going to crush it here in 2023. Um, Number two, this is the end of the trilogy, right? This is the end of the circuit. Um, Number three, you're bringing everybody back. You're bringing Michael Douglas back. You're bringing Michelle Pfeiffer back. You're bringing, so they're trapped in this. And I was watching something when I think it was Kevin Feige who basically had said, this was Scott's idea. This was Paul Rudd's idea. And so, the first one, they had to figure it out. The second one, they went in and saved somebody from that. And then the third one, now they're trapped and they have to get out. Everybody has to get out, and there's a new villain here. I I really like this. I think this is going to be a really cool. Excuse me. I think it's going to be a really cool ending to this thing.
And it's
Yeah.
really unexpected, which I really love because you would think, when you introduce a character like Kang, this over encompassing um, main villain, what it appears to be for the phase 5 and phase 6 of the MCU, you would think you would introduce him in this huge movie like, say, maybe even a Guardians of the Galaxy, or you would introduce him in a Thor or a Captain America. But the fact that they introduce him in Ant-Man is really cool because it gives you what's it like when you have the character that's basically like the everyman. He was like us, what it was like to be a guy that just happens to be in this MCU and then he comes across these powers and he doesn't have superpowers, Ant-Man. He just has a suit, and to have that character face off against possibly the greatest villain the MCU has ever faced, I think that's a pretty interesting idea because it's something that you wouldn't expect to see from an Ant-Man movie, and it's also something that you wouldn't expect to see from the MCU as a whole. And I think that that's going to make this movie even more exciting because now you have this villain, and what's going to happen? How's it going to end? How's it going to lead into Kang Dynasty? I think we're going to get the answers with this film.
No, absolutely. And I think that the fact is that it's not only it's going to be a good film, and I'll tell you something. There's a lot of confidence in Marvel. Lot of confidence to put something a major villain. I mean, some are even saying he's big as big, or if not bigger than Thanos. And so when you put that kind of villain at the end of um this film, and the end credit scenes are going to set everything up, and
Hmm.
it's going to be a really really good time. So I can't wait to go see it. I know Kyle can't wait to go see it. um what do you guys think? Do you think that this is going to be a good movie? Do you think that this is going to be a good start to phase 5, or do you think that Marvel's just going to continue the ways they've been going? Do me a favor, leave your thoughts down in the comments, and we're going to get back to you on that. Okay, so our last story of the day brings Kevin Feige, who is the mastermind of Marvel, into play. A- And so he was at the premiere of an Ant-Man, and so he basically had said in a interview that Spider-Man 4 is basically done. All they have to do is put pen to paper. And so that's that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Um, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home made over $1 billion. So, um, so that's good. He also confirmed that to EW, Entertainment Weekly, that Deadpool 3 will be the first rated R movie in the MCU. So he basically, screenwriters had previously said that Disney would not make a Deadpool friendly film, because of Fox, and well, not because of Fox, but that was what they acquired. And each one of the other Deadpool movies had made over $780 million worldwide.
Hmm.
So they just signed somebody on the other day. We know that Hugh Jackman's coming back. And so, and finally, the big movie that everybody's been looking forward to is Blade. So Blade hit a speed bump back in 2022 when the original director exited. And so he said it's going well, and they're going to start rolling in about 10 weeks of Blade. So, and that's not to mention You have, you know, Thaddeus Ross. You know, I mean, Harrison Ford is now in the MCU. So let me ask you this: so much to talk about. What do you think about all this news that Kevin Feige dropped? Number one, are you excited for Spider-Man 4? Number two, do you think they could get Tom Holland back with Zendaya? And number three, which one of the projects, Deadpool 3, Harrison Ford being playing Ross, which one of those are you that much more excited for?
Um, well, number one, I'm excited for Spider-Man 4. I think I hope because they keep on doing this with these Spider-Man films in the MCU, but I hope that this is actually Spider-Man because every time they make a Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, they're like at the very end, "Ooh, look, he's Spider-Man now. He's gonna, really be swinging around the city. He's going to do a lot of the Spider-Man stuff we're used to seeing him do." But then the next movie, it's like, no, he's still learning. And then the next movie, it's like, oh no, he's still learning. And when we see him at the end of No Way Home, and he has the homemade suit, he is living in an apartment. He has the police dispatch. It looks like we're finally going to see him become like the full Ultimate Spider-Man that um, we're used to seeing, and that I'm really looking forward to. The big question is who the villain will be because they could do it with, a Green Goblin, a Doctor Octopus, the same ones that they've had before, but with the new MCU versions, or they could go for even a more street-based villain like a Tombstone or a Hammerhead. There are a number of opportunities for them to, I think, explore. You asked if Tom Holland will be back, and I mean, obviously he'll be. I mean, they've even said that I think they've signed a deal with him, or there's, but yeah, I think obviously he'll be back because they're calling it Spider-Man 4. It's not like they're making a new Spider-Man movie. But will Zendaya be back? That's a great question because it's like, do you risk the weight of the last film by saying that, oh, maybe she now remembers who he is? Or do you let him explore new opportunities? Because, right, like the fun thing about Peter Parker is in the comics, he had a number of girlfriends or he had a number of um, dates with other girls before Mary Jane. And Mary Jane was like his end all. Once he got to Mary Jane, he was set for life. In the movies, though, he's only basically had one little thing with Liz Allen, and then he went to MJ. I think it would be cool if you give Peter a new love interest in this new Spider-Man film, and then either you bring Zendaya in at the end of that film, being like, "Ah, hey Peter, I just moved next door." Like, can you imagine that would be an amazing, amazing ending where Peter, he's set for life. He's got the greatest girlfriend. He could get. I don't know who he'll be dating, whether it be a Gwen Stacy or someone else, but he's dating this new girl. At the end of the movie, a new, it's say, "Oh, you have a new next door neighbor," and it's MJ, and then you're like, "Oh snap!" Man, I think that might be a great ending, but I don't know because I think Zendaya will eventually return. I think we'll see MJ back. I think we'll see Ned back. I do wonder when this movie comes out. So let me ask you, David, when do you think Spider-Man 4 will be released?
Well, so if they have the story already done, and so Kevin Feige had basically said, "Look, we're just going to put pen to paper at this point." I gotta believe we're in February. So let's say the script takes 6 months, and I'm being generous, but let's say 6 months. Let's say 6 to 8 months. they're probably not going to start shooting this until 2024, which means if they're not going to start shooting this until 2024, you're probably looking at a 2025 release. So I would say, personally speaking to your question, I would say it's probably going to be a 2025 release. Now, I don't know, maybe, and that's another great question. It's going to depend on Zendaya. Now, the way I look at it is this: they're a package deal. Okay, she's going to come back. I think it's going to be a matter of the scheduling that she has with Euphoria and
Yeah, that's
a
a
lot of her other commitments. Um, but I do think she will be back. I think she will, be there. How they're going to do the story, I obviously nobody knows that. Um, but to answer your question, the short answer is I think it's 2025. I think it's
so
probably summer 2025, and yeah,
you're seeing it more so, I think, as part of Phase 6 of the MCU. We'll see Spider-Man
yeah,
4,
no, no, absolutely.
and
I
I
they're not going
think
to rush this out. They're
that
absolutely not going to rush this out.
will be interesting about that, David, is where would this fit in the overall MCU? Because most likely that would mean it would be coming out maybe in time before Kang Dynasty
Well, I
or
think I
after,
think what they'll do is
in
this.
between Kang and
Yeah.
Secret
So I think
Wars.
what they'll do is this. I think they're going to drop nuggets. I think they're going to do cutscenes. Okay,
With Spider-Man?
with Spider-Man. And so at that point, what they're going to do is they're going to, I mean, not every single one, obviously, but they're going to drop little nuggets. And then they're going to, you might see him do a cameo. And when he makes the
Um,
cameo, I think at that point, what they'll do is they will, he'll have like a 5 or 7 minutes, he'll have a couple of scenes in whatever film it is. And then I think that's going to build up to whatever it is.
I'm
But
wondering if, because of Sony being, a part of the producing angle, I do wonder how, because like when it comes to Spider-Man, they've never had a Spider-Man end credit scene or real, you know, well, anything attached to any movies that weren't produced by Sony. So Civil War was in conjunction with Sony. Now, then you have Spider-Man Homecoming in conjunction with Sony. So therefore, I feel like they'd have to, in order to do that, they'd have to, guess get Sony's approval. Um,
I'll say this much.
well, no,
What
yeah.
was if you remember, what was the big thing that everybody was talking about with that trailer with Civil War? The last 15 seconds. It was Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Now, obviously that's a trailer and that's different. But that was the buzz around the water cooler the next day. It was, "Oh my god, they actually got Spider-Man in it." I think that if they're able to do that and able to, kind of, I'm going to put it to you like this. Maybe they drop a cameo like the last 5 minutes of whatever movie they're going to do. And, whether it's Peter or, Tom or,
Yeah.
you know, he comes in and he does that because there is always, while it is Sony's character, at the end of the day, they want to try and make the biggest buzz and the biggest skit they can. And I think
Yeah.
that when you do that, when you're able to make something like that happen, that's what people talk about. So,
And it makes you wonder because, I mean, Sony, when it comes to like these Spider-Man films that Sony makes, they usually don't put them on the slate. Usually the slate is for just the films that Marvel produces.
right, right,
And that means that really can, and Deadpool is also the same. They haven't put Deadpool on the slate because that's also in partnership with 20th Century Studios. So I feel like right now, Deadpool 3 and Spider Man are the most interesting of the movies because those are films that literally can be, anywhere and can be done
exactly.
with. with and like with the whole Deadpool being our news story. I mean, I think most of us already knew that it would be, but it's still reassuring to hear, and it's going to be so different because now I think, there will be Avengers cameoing in Deadpool, and it's going to be so good because think about all the things that Deadpool can now do with the MCU, but in an R-rated fashion.
Um,
And I think, as like some reports have mentioned it being a part of the TVA from Loki, there are a vast number of opportunities
the
for Deadpool.
opportunities, this is unlimited. That's why
Yes.
the multiverse, the whole thing with the multiverse, and
And
that's what this
Wolverine.
is. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. What did you think? Let me ask you this question. What did you think about the Blade news? Because I know everybody has been Blade has been one of those IPs and in those properties that it's when are they going to get this off the ground? We haven't heard any news about Blade. We knew that who the star was going to be, but then silence for almost a long, long, long time. And then you had the director leave and everything else. Let me ask you, are you excited for Blade?
Yeah. What was the Blade news
So the
again?
director, he basically had come out. So they had basically said they're going to start filming Blade within the next 10 weeks.
Mm.
They are going to um they're going to start doing that, and it's going to be um it's there. So basically Blade is going to begin filming in like 10 weeks.
Blade is very interesting because I loved Blade films. I love all three Blade movies. Wesley Snipes was a great Blade. Blade's a great character. Um, I do wonder because I think it's almost just assumed at this point that Dane Whitman, the Black Knight from Eternals, played by Kit Harington, is going to have a role in this movie because at the end of Eternals, the end credit sequence, he sees what is called the Ebony Blade and he goes to touch it. And then you hear Mahershala Ali's voice saying, "Are you sure you want to do that, Dane?" Or he says something on that order. And that's like, ooh, Blade. And Blade was a project they announced back in 2019. It was a project they announced at Comic Con, and it was the big announcement because no one knew this was happening. A number of the other projects were rumored: Shang-Chi, Black Widow movie, Eternals. A number of them were like known already to be happening. But when they announced that Blade was coming and that Mahershala Ali would play him, the whole roof, um, basically went in applause and such a timely fashion. But when it comes to this character, I think they wanted this character in this movie to come out earlier. They wanted Eternals to reference him back in like 2020 when it was supposed to come out. I think they were hoping this movie to come out in 2022 at this point. But unfortunately, of course, as you mentioned, with the delays, and I think they kind of just they basically like, because the thing about Marvel is they really, given how many movies they announce, it's unbelievable how they're able to release all of them because no other studio does this. No other studio announces, 6 or 7 movies coming out in the next 10 years and the dates they'll be out, the cast that will be in it, the story. No other studio does that. If you remember back before the whole James Gunn DC Universe announcement, we like David, we didn't even know what DC movie was coming out in 2025, let alone even 2024 there could have been a movie coming out. Where Marvel, we know what movies are coming out in 2026 or 2027, I believe. And that's pretty crazy when I think with Blade, they tried, and I guess it didn't work out. And instead of scrapping the project, they really want Blade in here. They are going to still go through with it, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see the vampire angle. I think it's a really cool idea to have that type of angle because we've seen the werewolf angle in Werewolf by Night. So what do vampires act like in the MCU? In Loki, there is a vampire in that show, but it's a quick second cameo. And then there's Morbius,
We won't
and
we won't discuss that.
we don't talk about
We don't talk
Morbius.
that's the one film we don't talk about.
Yes, so I'm excited. I'm excited for Blade.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is going to be the really cool. I mean, finally they can get this stuff running. The other news too, I thought was really good. You got Thunderbolt Ross coming in, and you got
Oh
Harrison
yes,
Ford playing Thunderbolt Ross. I mean, this is a Harrison Ford.
but that's yeah.
No, I mean, just the simple fact of you got Harrison Ford that is just absolutely killing it right now. He's got that series on Apple TV. He's got Indiana Jones coming out. He's going to be playing Ross in this, the Thunderbolts. He's
But
huge.
David, it's not actually the news that he's playing Thunderbolt because that's great.
Well,
But it's the news that Thunderbolt will be the president of the
well,
United States,
they're true.
and
Okay,
that to
good.
me
That's
that
a good distinguishing thing. Thank you.
yeah
But I
no
mean,
that yes, like he'll be great as Ross. But what
I
they
think
just did, if you remember in Wakanda Forever, they revealed that the president wanted to destabilize Wakanda.
yeah. So,
It looks like this is the president.
hmm
Ross, the same one we knew from the Incredible Hulk, the one we know from Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, that man is now calling the shots on the government. I think there are a number of ramifications this will have. Think about what it could mean for characters like She-Hulk and characters, like Hulk himself, who he's always had something against. I think this is going to have massive ramifications. Remember also, um, when it comes to at least um, in the comics, I don't know if you know this, but in the comics, Thunderbolt Ross becomes a Hulk. He doesn't become a Green Hulk. He becomes what is known as the Red Hulk.
oh,
So
that's right.
there is a chance that Harrison Ford himself will turn into a Hulk. And it sounds almost silly to believe.
No, but they've been able to pull a lot of things off.
No,
So,
but when you look at where the storylines have been going with these stories, when you look at the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, as it's called at the end, that show established that the super soldier serum is still, causing havoc. And I think that was whatever Sharon Carter was up to. And then we get into She-Hulk, and we start to see how they're, being treated, how like Bruce Banner's blood can turn you into the Hulk with Jennifer Walters. I mean, there's some interest. And then also in Captain America New World Order, the next Captain America film coming out, Samuel Stearns, who was in The Incredible Hulk, he was the scientist that Bruce Banner tried to get um, to help him make a cure for himself. That man then got hit, and some of Bruce's blood fell into him. He becomes the character known as the Leader. He's this green looking character, kind of like the Hulk, but he has this giant head. He's in Captain America, and he's dealing with super soldier serum. Elijah from Elijah Brad, no, not Elijah, Isaiah Bradley, from Falcon Winter Soldier, is in Captain America: The New World Order. So there's a lot of
there's
super
so much
soldier
stuff. There's
stuff
so many
going
moving
on.
parts that this is going to be huge. This,
Yes.
I mean, and I've always said this. This is why I think Kevin Feige is the best studio head in the business because he's able to plan what you were saying earlier. He's able to plan all of this stuff out. And let's not forget, he's got all this stuff coming on Disney Plus.
Mhm.
It's one thing to plan films, it's another thing to be doing shows in between this. And so it unbelievable. Unbelievable. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so that's the thing about Feige too. He drops so much stuff that when he does drop it, there is so much to digest and talk about and think about and speculate on and everything because you don't know, and
And he
so
makes it fun. Like
he
that's why it's
does.
so fun. Because
He
like David,
does.
I don't know about you, but like whenever I hear people talk about superhero fatigue and this and that, it's still to me it's an evolving plan. And
Mhm.
where I think what Quantum Mania, what I'm so excited about is that we're gonna start to see the pieces really starting to come together. And even as I was watching Ant-Man the other day, I mean, think about how like back in 2015 they mentioned the quantum realm, and it played a part in Endgame. Like that was where they were headed, and that's how they were able to save the world. But now it's even playing a much larger part in Quantum Mania, and I think that's just exciting. It makes you appreciate the films, and it makes you excited for what's to come.
Now I have one quick question. If this film is, let's say, good, not great. Let's say that this is a. Look, I know that there are a lot of films out there that, or movies, or whatever you want to call them. Do you think this could be as good as, let's say, a Captain America trilogy?
Well, no,
I mean, that's a lofty goal. I know that,
no,
but
I mean the Ant-Man films, I mean, I would say like the first one is up there, but it depends because I think that let's say it is like a really great film. If let's say Quantumania is a really great film, then you'll have like two goes, maybe. But I mean, the thing with if you look at the Captain America franchise, the three films they're really great,
yeah,
and
no,
it's
they get
those are
better
hard.
as they go.
It's by far like arguably the best of the trilogies. I would argue personally for me, I think my favorite trilogy is Thor. I think that the Winter Soldier is a better movie than any of the Thor
Oh,
films, but
yeah,
it's
hands
still
down.
like as a trilogy, I really do love the Thor trilogy. So, but I mean, everybody has their
No, yeah,
own.
absolutely, and that's why we
I'm
always
sure.
say,
I'm sure people will probably be out there that think the Ant Man trilogy is the best one.
yeah. I think it's because, I mean, you bring back not older, but you're having Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer and
Yeah.
everything else. I mean, and look, and by the way, guys, if you want to go back, well, we just did um, Captain America and the Winter Soldier as one of our perfect movies. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think that I'm really excited for this movie. I
Hmm.
really am. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think it's going to be great. I think he's gonna
Jonathan
have such a
Majors. Yeah.
huge, huge, huge 2023. I can't wait to see how high his star rises because whether it's Magazine Dreams, whether it's Creed 3, whether it's Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania, I mean, this guy's just gonna explode. Explode. Um, but yeah, so what do you guys think? I know there's a lot of news out there. What are you guys excited for? Are you excited for Spider-Man 4 to finally get a script done? Are you excited for Deadpool 3 to, finally start to get, that R rating that everybody wants? Are you excited for the possibility of Harrison Ford playing Ross and all those things? Leave your thoughts down in the comments and we'll definitely get back to you on all that stuff. Okay. So, yeah, so as it goes, this was we got a bunch of stuff coming out. So whether it is, let's just do a quick run through real quick. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out on Friday. We're going to be going to see it Thursday. Spoiler cast right back here on Friday, guys. No roundup this week. So just to let you know. Um, then we have the Jonathan Majors. He seems to
Mhm.
be everywhere. Creed 3. The new trailer just dropped today. We were just talking about it. I have to sit down and watch Creed 2. Stay tuned for Creed Week, the beginning of March. We're going to do um, watches of Creed, Creed 2, and then we're going to go see Creed 3 and do a spoiler cast about it. Um, now, I am kind of jumping around a little. There are films that are going to be coming out that between now and then in May. So you got Guardians of the Galaxy coming out May 5th, which a new trailer just dropped. And by the way, if you want to go back and watch our trailer breakdown of that, we do all of the trailers and we play a little game to see how much you think they could possibly make. Um, we got Across the Spider Verse coming out in June, which by the way I didn't put in there, but I know he's really excited for Fast X, which is coming out the next week. So that was um, whimsical, comical, but cartoon characterish, if you will. So that comes out the week after Guardians. So then June 2nd, you have Across the Spider Verse. One that he was really disappointed with. Transformers: The Rise of the Beast. He wasn't. It was a 30-second spot, and he really didn't like it that much. So we'll have to see how that does. And these all are gonna
I
make.
mean,
We're
as I said, I'm really excited for the movie, but the
yeah,
spot itself
yeah.
offered
He
very
wasn't.
little new footage.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, we're gonna be doing spoiler casts on all of these, so stay tuned for those. We get the Flash. This one just blew everything up for I mean, crushed Guardians, crushed everything. So we're gonna be going to see that. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I still don't like that title, but that's what they're going with. Uh, but nonetheless, this was a movie that cost $297 million to make. Harrison Ford from the footage looks amazing. I can't wait to go see it. And that's going to be a great adventure. Then we have what I think is going to be the biggest movie of the year.
Where's
And
that
Mitch,
trailer at?
yeah, and I even said that. I even
Yeah.
said that the other day. Where is that trailer? Because that would have blown. I think to your point though. I think the one thing that and Tyler brought this up the other day is I don't think they wanted to be competing against Guardians and Fast 10
It's
and the
also
Flash.
expensive too, and I think that
So
did you see the Little Mermaid spot came out today, and
yeah, I
clearly
happen to see
that
that.
was clearly a Super Bowl ad. That was
Yeah.
going to be a Super Bowl ad, but they ended up, moving it away because Disney didn't want to
No,
spend as
I
much.
don't blame him. I don't blame him
Yeah.
because he had so much other competition, and that's how stacked this lineup is, guys. And so the final one we're going to be looking at is the next week and is Oppenheimer. And this is, Nolan is going to be, Christopher Nolan's Christopher Nolan. I'm really curious to see where it goes, how Cillian Murphy does. It's got a stacked cast. So stay tuned for all those spoiler casts. Um, yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow and we're going to go see it. We'll be back here on Friday to do it. Yeah, it's so let me, as we close up today, do you have any major, like not big expectations, but do you have any expectations going into this with either the story or the villain?
I'm not really. I mean, like, I think the villain is going to be, really good. I'm really going into this, and it kind of stinks because, it's an Ant Man movie. I shouldn't be going into it, but I really want to see how it connects to the greater story they're trying to tell. Because when it comes, I have a feeling I might rewatch Shang-Chi again tomorrow. Because if you remember at the end of Shang-Chi, they had the rings and they said they were calling out to something, some sort of beacon. I think that might be tied into Kang, but that's just me theorizing. I think that when it comes to the film itself, I just really hope that it has the same fun qualities of the other Ant-Mans, and I hope that one of the big things that I think a lot of people aren't really talking much about is Catherine Newton, who's going to be playing Cassie Lang. And I'm really hoping that she's good in this because I thought the little actress that played her, the little girl in the first two, she was incredible. And they actually recast this role of Cassie because another actress played her back in Endgame. And I'm hoping that, Catherine Noonan's great. And also Bill Murray's in this film.
Yes, that
And
will
they've
be
kept
interesting to
him,
see.
I think maybe because of controversy and all
Yeah,
the stuff that's going on,
they've
they've
kind of
kept him really, really hush
low key.
hush. But I think he might play a part in here. So I'm looking forward to it. I really think it's funny that's coming out in February instead of like May, because it does look to me like a May movie. But we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we did.
I'm excited to do the spoiler cast on it because
Yeah.
I wonder, should we get? I think maybe you want to get other people on here, or do you want to just
Well,
do it like
we'll
we
see.
can?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what their schedules entail and look like. Okay, guys. So that's as Kyle just made mention. Come back here on Friday because that's going to be when we're going to be doing our spoiler cast. I can't wait. He can't wait. And on that note, by the way, I should say one final thing as we are leaving today. Guys, please, if you're stopping by even for a few seconds and you want to know a little bit more, hit that like and subscribe button because we have a ton. This is just the beginning, and we're not even talking. Guys, I should say this too. Stay tuned for Sunday. We got a brand new live stream of The Last of Us episode
Oh yeah.
6 coming
I
out.
forgot.
So, I mean, it just keeps
The
getting
Last of
better
Us
and better
coming
and
out on
better.
Friday really changed
Yeah,
everything up
no,
for
I
me.
know.
It's like, wait, when's it coming out?
Yeah. So, and I think they're gonna probably that's a conversation for another time. But I think that they're probably gonna move the one for the Oscars. Anyways, guys. So yeah, it's been a blast. Hit that like and subscribe button so you get all this good content as we move forward. And that's it. So he's Kyle. I'm David, and you have been watching Real Talks. Bye bye, guys.
Live long and prosper.